Warm day. We're back next day. Riding pretty confident, feeling pretty good after yesterday's session, but not gonna let that get to my head. Anything could happen. But let's just get right into it and enjoy ourselves. So I've been playing for just over an hour and I have not had a single pot push my way yet. I'm down 300, like I'm in for 5. This is not like yesterday. Let's just be patient and see. Hopefully something happens. Just played for 6 hours, just over 6 hours. I did not film a single hand. I guess that's how the frickin' game goes sometimes, because that was quite literally the most boring session I've ever had. I lost $480 or something, like unreal how card dead I was, and I just couldn't hit flops. I had jacks twice, lost both times. Queens once won on the flop, but like, dude, that was quite brutal. But yeah, that's how it goes. You run extremely hot one day, terribly the next, and hopefully whenever I play next, play this weekend, it'll be somewhere in between, because that was just fucked. But anyways, this is the whole video. Thanks for watching. Peace. Just kidding. Video's not done, obviously, but I was not kidding about that run I just had. That was 6 hours of just not playing anything. So we're gonna go back today. It's Saturday now, and hopefully we can get a few hands put in here. If not, I'm gonna be very disappointed, but I won't leave until I get some hands. How about that? Good deal. This is around 30 minutes in. Our session starts at 2 p.m. today, and I look down at pocket 8s. This is the second time I've had them, but had to fold to a flop bet on the other hand. There's an early position open to 10, folds to me. I decide to call. The small blind comes along as well, so 3 ways to an amazing flop of 9-8 deuce rainbow. The small blind checks. The initial raiser decides to continuation bet for 20. I like to just call, not really being afraid of anything here, and I'm quite shallow stack, so I can easily jam the turn if he bets something like $40. The small blind comes along as well, so good news. 3 ways to the turn, which is the jack of clubs, bringing in flush draws and completing some straights. When the small blind checks, the initial raiser continues for 25, a pretty small sizing, but I actually like this play if he has a hand like an overpair. Anyway, I decide to jam, as I would be doing with some semi-bluffs. He calls after maybe 10 seconds. The small blind also folds. We're running at once, and the board does pair on the river with another jack. We show and we scoop.
15 minutes later, I'm in the $5 straddle. There's a $10 straddle as well, and it folds all the way to us. The player to our left has $66, and we have a decent hand to rip it with, being Queen 10 offsuit. So that's exactly what we do. He's also been seen calling all-ins with much worse hands, because he's a gambling man. He snap calls with Queen 9 of spades. We have him dominated, running at once. Let's fucking see what happens. He binked the 9! How did he bink the 9?
Around 15 minutes later, I look down at pocket aces in the small blind. There's a limp, and an open to 12 from the button. Nothing to do here but raise, so I go for $45. Folds back to the button, who puts in the call, so heads up to a flop, which comes 10, 9, 8, all spades. An absolutely atrocious flop. Can we ever run good? That's what I would say if that was actually the flop. Instead, it's an ace of spades, 7 of spades, 2 of clubs. We flop top set in a 3-bet pot. Holy shit, let's go. I think for a bit on what size to go here. Normally, I would go 33%, or a little bigger being out of position. But just blocking all of his calling hands, I decide to bet $15. Crazy surprise when he decides to raise me $45. Holy shit. I actually considered raising again here, because who on earth 3-bets top set on the flop, but I think better of it and just call. The turn is the 10 of hearts, changing nothing. I check, and sadly he checks back. The river is the king of hearts, so downgrading us to the second nuts, but I still have to go for the value, obviously. I bet $95, and after 20 seconds, he calls. I show, and it's good!
Three shuffles later, I look down at King Jack offsuit in the low jack. I open to 10, the guy to my left calls. He was the Queen 9 of spades hand. And there's one more caller to a decent flop of Jack 10-7 rainbow. I decide to check when the small blind checks, and there's an aggro guy on my left who bets $15. Small blind folds, and I actually decide to go very thin and check raise my hand to $45. He now doesn't think too long before 3-bet ripping in my face, but it's only for like $100, so I snap call. The run out comes, showing a second 10 on the turn, and then a third 10 on the river, so now I'm assuming we're chopping. But he flips over ace-queen offsuit, and we take it down.
Full house, 10-4 jacks. Queen. Covered.
Again, around 10 minutes later, I look down at pocket sixes and raise to 8. There's 4 callers, so 5 ways to queen 4-4 with 2 clubs. When it checks to me, I like to check, and the button checks back. The turn is now the king of diamonds, bringing a backdoor flush draw and straight draw, and the big blind leads for 15. I decide to turn my hand into a bluff because this card hits me more than him, and there are a ton of draws that he can call with that will fold rivers. So I raise to 60, being fully prepared to jam the river if everything breaks out. He tanks for a little before putting in the call. The river comes the 2 of hearts, perfect brick that he will never hit or improve on. However, I could have a hand like 5-6 that decides to raise the turn as a bluff and then gets there. So when he checks, I think a little before deciding my hand is not good enough to check back. I go all in for his remaining stack of 200, and he goes deep into the tank, talking out loud, saying he put me on ace jack of diamonds, and I'm starting to think, fuck, please fold, please fold. He ends up showing the table his cards, and he has queen 9 of diamonds, but flicks it into the muck, thank God. He also thought I could have had 5-6, which I was half repping, I guess, but this was a very sweaty one. I'm nearing the 2-hour mark of the session when I look down at queen jack off in the low jack and open to 8. There's 3 callers, so 4 ways to a bad flop of 6-5-4, 2 hearts. Checks to me, I check, and the last player checks it back. The turn is the 3 of clubs, and now the big blind leads for $5. I have experience versus this guy, and I know he would bet bigger if he had absolutely anything here. So I decide to float, probably bluff rivers, and both others fold. So good dynamic here to the 5 of diamonds on the river. He now bets 26, and this still makes no sense to me. I know we are beat by literally anything here, any of his high cards bluffs, but I just lean way more towards like terrible hands. I decide to flip a coin. Let's see what happens. Should I just flip a coin? I'm gonna flip a coin. Just gonna flip a coin. Do you want to show me your cards or no? I'll lock in the coin flip. Like it's heads I'll call, tails I'll fold. Okay.
Heads call?
Heads call. Yeah. All right. I called you ridiculously light. You could be good. Queen high.
Queen 9?
Yeah.
Me too.
Queen jack. Oh my god. I don't know if you guys can see that there. He has queen 8 offsuit for just a complete airball bluff. So bad call here in the long run for sure. But in this hand, we ended up getting lucky that he had just the worst of the worst. And he took it down to queen high.
This hand is against this absolute maniac on my right. He opens the $10 from the cutoff, and I decide to flat with ace-5 of heart on the button. The small blind calls as well, so 3 ways to a decent board of ace-10 to rainbow. He continues for $25. Nothing to do here but call against this player. We're either way ahead or way behind. I assume we're way ahead because this guy can literally have anything. The small blind folds, so off to a good turn, the 7 of hearts. But flush draw and top pair, he continues begging for $50, and he says you won't be posting this hand because you're going to lose. This doesn't change my decision at all. I still think we're probably ahead, but he could have like 10-7. Dad got lucky here. The river is the 4 of diamonds, so we brick it but still have a good value. He insta jams, covering me for $101, and I just say I don't think I can fold. So I put in the call, and he shows the bad news with ace-2 offsuit. Fuck!
Nice hand, my friend.
Yeah?
Yeah, you win. Wow. That was a very swingy session, up and downs. Started off pretty hot. Went up to, I don't know, 600 at the high point. And then these two just like maniacs sat down at the table, and I couldn't get cards to have fun with them. I mean, that one spot with the ace-5 of hearts, could not fold against that guy. He could have had anything, and happened to have the 2 pair there. Played for, what time is it? 7. Played for 5 hours. Was in for 700, out for 250. So numbers there like usual. And yeah, that was it was very, very fun, but ran card at the end. Just couldn't figure it out, but that's the game. So yeah, as I told you guys last time, going to Florida in 3 weeks time with Henry Puck. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little thing. I won't be posting until Florida after this video, so probably on the 25th. We'll see when this one comes out, but like always, thanks so much. Bruce.
No. Good luck, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I think do you know what I have? You can probably guess.
I thought we were just fucking around.
Oh, yeah, totally. I have an ace. Oh, ace is really good.
I can tell you want me.
I thought we were just fucking around.
I can show you how. Think it out. I can tell you want me.
Yeah?
15 minutes later, I'm in the $5 straddle. There's a $10 straddle as well. I fucked up. I get nervous.